Californians should really hope that Donald Trump wins the White House in 2024 because it will come along with a major tax cut for them. Coming up, we'll tell you what will happen under Trump's new tax policy that even many California Democrats support. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California, and there's a lot at stake in the 2024 presidential election. As you know, I support President Donald Trump. And while Trump probably is not going to win the state of California in this election, California homeowners and taxpayers should really be hoping that he wins the White House because it will come along with a very significant tax cut for them. And in fact, the tax cut that Trump has now proposed is actually an idea that many California Democrat politicians also support. And so the chances of this getting done and saving you a bunch of money, pretty darn high, but only if Trump is in the White House. So here's what we're talking about. In the 2018 tax reform package that Trump shepherded into law in his last administration, as part of the negotiations, that package included a cap on the deduction that filers, federal income tax filers, can take on their state income tax burden. So usually when you put together your taxes, you list your income, and then there's certain deductions that you're able to take. Charitable deductions, mortgage deduction. One of the line items for a deduction is what did you pay your state government in taxes? And you used to be able to deduct the entire amount. Well, under the omnibus mega tax reform package in 2018, there was a cap placed on what you could deduct of your state income taxes, state and local income taxes. Here's the Thomson's Reuters description of the state and local tax SALT deduction cap. The 2018 tax year, starting with 2018 tax year, under the plan, it caps you at $10,000 of your combined property, sales, or income taxes paid to state and local governments. If you're an individual filer, it's only $5,000. So married couples, joint filers, are getting $10,000. Individuals are getting $5,000 capped. You might have paid more than that. In fact, most Californians pay significantly more than that. I mean, think about it. You got your state income tax here in California, which is the highest income tax in the country. That could easily be, more than $10,000. But it's significant for even middle-class families. Then you've got your property taxes that you pay. Despite Prop 13, Californians with their assessed home values have some of the highest property taxes in the nation. That could be several $1,000s just right there. On top of that, you got the highest car tax in the country. And I do hope that you are including the car taxes that you're paying. Also, you can calculate all your sales taxes that you've been paying on every receipt and say, look, I'm paying sales tax, local and state sales tax. That all could be deducted. And we're talking about thousands of dollars for the typical family. Any tax that you are hit with would be a state and local tax that you would be able to deduct. But this cap that the 2018 tax reform measure put on meant that there was a lot of deduction that you weren't able to take. And so in effect, it increased your taxes, this bad provision. And I will tell you, I oppose this provision. I don't think Republicans should be capping this. The argument that Republicans made was, why should the high tax blue states be able to tax their residents and then that offsets federal income tax? Well, I always say two wrongs don't make a right. So why are you punishing people who are basically being taxed on income that the state and local government are taking that doesn't actually go into their pocket? So it's really not income at that point. I consider it actually double taxation. And that's why I oppose the SALT cap. Well, President Trump apparently opposes it too. And what he says that he wants to restore the state and local tax deduction in full. So whatever you actually pay for state and local taxes here in California, you would be able to take the maximum full amount, every penny of it, and deduct that before your federal income taxes are calculated. We're talking about thousands of dollars for the typical Californian in increased tax savings that you can get, and that money will stay in your pocket. Now, notice that many of the Democrats, including Nancy Pelosi, believe that we should do away with this $10,000 SALT cap as well. This is good news because Trump has to sit down in his new administration and start hammering out a new tax reform package, because the Trump tax cuts from 2018, well, they were temporary. They expire starting in the next year, 2025. And unless those tax cuts are reauthorized and hopefully the SALT cap is eliminated, we're going to have a major sucker punch to California and American taxpayers. And so tax reform is on the top of the list for Trump. And it's wonderful to see, at least as a Californian with the highest taxes in the country, that Trump agrees that we should be able to deduct the high state and local taxes we pay in this state. Look, there's a lot at stake in this election. And that's one thing that you may want to tell your friends, that as Californians, this is a major, major financial hit, this SALT cap that was put on us, and that Trump is working hard and made a commitment to eliminate that cap. In this election, I urge you to help us support a whole range of politicians, candidates that are committed to opposing tax increases. If you want to deal with the high taxes in blue states like California, you gotta fire the liberal tax and spend politicians that run the show at the state and local levels. That's why at Reform California, we do have our plain English voter guide that gives you the plain English descriptions of all the measures on the ballot. And several of the measures will increase your taxes, and we take a no position on them. Plus, we're trying to save Prop 13. Prop 5 on the ballot this year will gut Prop 13 and make it easier for politicians to raise your taxes by lowering the vote required for a tax increase, ad valorem tax increases at the local level, from 2/3 down to merely 55%, making it easier. We oppose Prop 5 because we want to protect Prop 13, and we don't want to make it easier to raise taxes. Also, we uncovered 470 local tax increases on the ballot in local jurisdictions around the state. And chances are you're living in a local jurisdiction that has several of those 470 tax hikes hidden on your ballot. So get that plain English voter guide at reformcalifornia.org, reformcalifornia.org, and share it with your friends and family. Also, remember, we do make candidate endorsements in our voter guide. The Reform California Voter Guide only endorses candidates who are opposed to tax increases, support border security, support police, and respect the voice of parents in our school districts. We endorse for candidates all the way from the top of the ticket down to judge and school board, where voters have a hard time getting information on the positions and qualifications of candidates. Well, we do a one-stop coverage of both the ballot measures in plain English, as well as making good candidate endorsements for every jurisdiction. Check it out at reformcalifornia.org, and please chip in a contribution so that we can continue to wage the fight here in California to help us break through the censorship of the liberal media. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and smash that notification button so you can stay up to date on all the developments in California news and politics. Also, please visit the website, reformcalifornia.org, for ongoing news coverage and to join one of our campaigns in the fight to take back our state. If you can, please sign up as a volunteer or chip in a contribution. This episode of Reform California with Carl DeMaio, paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly 2024.